I actually knew Patrice through the time of him going from like standing up to sitting down doing comedy. And what I thought that brought to his comedy was like, you know, and he wouldn't even sit like to the front of the stage. He always kind of picked like a back corner and would almost like, you know, lean back, and he'd leave his jacket on if it was cold out. You know, he didn't really take his jacket off. And he would just, I thought it was a lot more inviting. And with his kind of slow pace and everything like that would draw them into him. And I found that so intriguing. And I wanted to do that too. I wanted to make the crowd come to me rather than going to them. And I've always found that works out much better for me. And that was all inspired by him completely. Because, yeah, I'd watch him at the comic strip very specifically. I remember it was where I first started noticing he started sitting down most of his sets and just taking his time. If the crowd was talkative when he first got on stage, he would just sit there and like he would really wait for it to just kind of unravel. You know, more than killing with laughter. You know, any shitty comic has killed with laughter before, where the crowd was great or overstimulated and they're just firing and you're just hitting everything. But it was always interesting to me to see a crowd that when you first got up there, you were almost like a second thought. And then that moment where you can realize, again, it's not the laughs, it's the pin drop silence. Yeah, that was a large pin. The pin drop silence that would be in a room, like, you know, especially if you're doing a joke, once you have that pin drop silence, you know the punchline's going to hit. It's the amazing part is getting them from, like, you know, not fully on board, not fully paying attention. It's late, and they're just losing steam, and for him to capture them back to complete full attention, I always loved that. That's why for that reason, that's why I've always like kind of put in to go like towards at the end of shows last, because that's the challenge of it, and that's what creates that comfort level. No one's ever called me for like ripping off Patrice, even though I sit on a stool and I do you know, all these things that I've mimicked, that I've watched him do, that I wanted to do. You sit down because Patrice said that. No one's ever said that, and I've always like, if someone ever called me, I'd say, yeah, that's exactly why. Watching him do that is what made me want to do that.